So it's 6:30, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. As I realize there might be a couple others that might be coming in, but I just want to respect Anna and Susan's time since you guys are here. As I get started, I want to do a quick sound check and just want to make sure that you guys see the PowerPoint okay. Do you guys see the PowerPoint okay? And can you hear me fine?
I do see, this is Anna, I do see the PowerPoint and I do hear you, okay.
Thanks, Anna, for sharing.
And I do as well.
Thanks, Susan. All right. Thanks, ladies, for attending. I'm going to go over tonight's agenda. So this is our Module 5 live session. This is kind of overview of what we're going to go over tonight. So we'll start on with introductions. And I think last time Anna and Susan, you guys were both on here, so you guys kind of know each other, which is good. I'm going to go over classroom expectations, important reminders. Then we'll just have some check-in of how this is going, and then we'll dive into some lesson content. Also, with that lesson content, we'll be going a little bit more in depth of learning styles and teaching strategies. And then we will go over some information, a case study from Chapter 8. And then you guys will have time to ask some questions at the end. Since it's just us three, if you have questions, feel free to interject at any time. And if for some reason, if I don't know the answer to it, I will write it down and get back to you as soon as possible. Usually if one person has a question, somebody else probably has the same question too as well. So just a little bit about myself. As you guys all know, my name is Mike. I live in Colorado. I am an education supervisor / I would be an administrator for the Head Start program in Denver. I also am a CDA specialist too as well. And then as far as my favorite book, it changes from time to time. My current one is about a sleepy squirrel. It's a book about, from the 80s about a squirrel getting ready for bed who insists she's not sleepy. I love this book because I read it to my daughter almost every night before bed, and she loves it too, and she kind of reminds me of the squirrel because, well, she thinks she's not tired at nighttime and she's exhausted. I kind of think it's kind of funny. So, you guys could just introduce yourselves, where you live, and your favorite children's book and why.
Hi, my name is Susan DeBuick. I live in Minnesota, and I agree. I think I have a variety of favorite children's books, but maybe one of my timeless classics is Quick as a Cricket, and it just goes through all these different pictures, and I like the art in it. I guess I like art a lot in children's books. So it says, you know, like I'm as quick as a cricket, I'm as tame as a poodle. At the end, it shows it's just, and you put it all together, and you've got me. And I like it because there's so many different aspects of each child and person.
Awesome. Thanks, Susan, for sharing.
And my name is Ana Huitrago. I'm originally from Colombia, South America, but I am residing in Tampa, Florida, for, I don't know, 20 years now. And I don't know if this will be considered a children's book or not, but my favorite book is the Bible. And I do have the children's Bible, and what I like is that it has different stories. So even though my 4-year-old loves one or two in particular, but I just love that we can pick out of anything from the Bible. So truly, that's That's it.
Well, thank you, Anna, and thank you guys for sharing a little bit about your favorite book and why. And if you're reviewing this recording, please make sure to answer the following questions: your favorite, your name, state, where you live, and favorite children's book as why. I just do that just to make sure that whoever is not at the live session has to answer the same questions that you guys do in order to receive full credit, just because they're not online. So yeah, that's why I'm doing that. So it might sound weird if I say that, but that's basically just telling the people, the folks that are not here, what they have to do. So live classroom expectations. So as you guys know, this is the last live classroom session. If you are here, you are encouraged to interact with me, myself, to have open dialogue about any questions that you might have, or the material that we go over. If you can't attend the live session, I do post it the next day, and then like I just said, that you got to make sure that you answer all the other questions that I ask the people who are online to receive full credit. So yeah, that is a little bit about live classroom expectations. So important reminders. So the last day of class is coming pretty quick. It seems like July flew by extremely fast. And now the last day of class is Tuesday, August 6th. Just a reminder, I cannot accept any assignments after 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time on the 6th for any reason. And then this week, Module 5 discussion responses are due on Saturday, August 3rd. Of course, you know, the initial responses are due tonight at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Module 5 course project, lesson plan part 4, will be due Sunday, August 4th. We will be going over a little bit of that in the live session, so you guys understand a little bit more of what I'm looking for in your lesson plan for part 4. Module 5 experience report is due on Sunday, August 4th too as well. And one of the biggest things is you guys got to make sure that all field experience hours should be completed and documented on this report. You must have 30 hours of field experience, or else you will not pass the course. That is extremely important. So if you are having barriers with that, please contact me as soon as possible. I don't want you guys to fail the course. I want everyone to pass. So if you're having problems, please reach out as soon as possible. The last couple of things, so Module 6 discussion will be due Tuesday, August 6th, and there will be no responses to peers or instructor for the discussion. I don't believe that there is a discussion that is due. And if there is a discussion that is due, which I am not sure if there is one or not, you don't have to answer to me or anybody else. So I will double check with that if there is a discussion. I don't think there is, but I could be wrong. You guys have any questions before I move on?
Not me.
I'm good as well.
All right, moving on. Checking in. How are things going? Do you guys know what your grade is in the class? And what were you guys' reactions for Module 4? Do you have any key takeaways that you learned that you could maybe apply to your job or your field or your practice?
I'm doing good so far with checking out the grades and understanding them and all that. And regarding the Module 4, I'm just trying to, since this is my first time or second time because of the field experience, working at a child care facility or a preschool, then I'm just trying to take everything in as much as I can. So that's it.
Is there anything that you've learned that kind of stood out to you?
From Module 4, you mean?
Yeah, anything from your experience, your observations.
So, well, I am this time I'm volunteering at a Montessori preschool, and it's way different than the preschool I did in April, May. So just the way that teachers talk to the children, and very nicely and kind, but very firm at the same time. And I'm just saying that it is really working, and I'm actually applying those things at my house with my 4-year-old too.
Good. I'm glad that you can apply what you're learning with your 4-year-old. Sometimes it does work with our own children too as well.
Oh yeah, even my husband had said that he's mentioned that he can see a difference too.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad that you're getting some good observation and some strategies for guidance, which is positive. So yeah, well, thanks for sharing, Anna.
Thanks.
Yes, I'm having no problem with the course. I know my grade. Doing fine on refining the assignments and the announcements every week. I guess I like the part that was effectively engaging families, because I've been trying to extend my learning activities, but also extending them from at home I've been working on in the last 6 months, but I've been especially working on extending them into like what they can take away or into the community, or how they could share it with like a possible friend that's working on something. Or so I found that interesting to read the 6 principles that effectively engage families. Even though I find I'm not too bad at it, but it's always interesting to read more about it.
Yes, and they're all a little bit different, but yet somewhat the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you could take away a little bit about that. Was there anything else, Susan, that you wanted to share?
I can't think of anything. And if I learn anything interesting, I do try apply it in my family child care. But I've been in my family child care for so many years, so I do. I've been I don't know. I don't even remember how many years I've been parent aware rated anymore. But it's nice that I was for all these years before, because so much of it makes sense as I'm doing the readings and everything like that. Just having some previous knowledge and stuff.
Well, I'm glad that is helping you in having that extra resources and stuff to apply. Anything else before I move on, ladies? It looks like everybody seems to be doing okay. If you are viewing this recording, please make sure to answer the following questions in paragraph form. So hearing or seeing, I'm going to keep continuing on. We're going to talk a little bit more about the course project that's coming up for lesson plan part 4. So just wanted to take a few minutes just to go over the course project for this upcoming week. you will be completing your lesson plan that you have been working on all term. So basically what you want to do is open your Module 4 Comprehensive Lesson Plan assignment. This should already include the components from the Module 2, 3, and 4 lesson plan assignments. Please begin by going through the feedback that I left you on your previous course project assignments and making corrections and additions where necessary. You can view my feedback on the previous assignments by clicking on the My Grades tab on the left side menu of the course homepage, and then clicking on the assignment. You can view in text notes by scrolling over the highlighted areas. You can see additional notes too by clicking on the rubric. And then once you have made the necessary corrections, you can open the Module 5 Comprehensive Lesson Plan template, copy and paste the entire Module 5 template onto the bottom of your revised Module 4 Comprehensive Lesson Plan, and then complete the Module 5 template and submit the assignment just as one document. And if you need more additional support on how to use the copy and paste to create the one lesson plan, you can view the short video available in the instruction for the assignment. And if you guys do have any problems, you can if you have any problems, just feel free to email me, because I know sometimes it can get a little bit tricky doing this. Do you guys have any questions? Hopefully that was straightforward enough.
Nope, I was just going to say I was going to.
Okay. How about you, Anna?
All good here. Thank you.
All right. All right. So I'm just going to keep scrolling along. So learning styles and teaching strategies. I'm going to take some time going over this. So last week in Chapter 6, you guys read about different learning styles and teaching strategies. Learning styles are how individuals perceive and process information. There are 3 sensory channels most frequently used by individuals to take in information, which is auditory, visual, and then kinesthetic or touching. I just want to take a closer look at it and recognizing how it helps learners excel. So the very first thing I wanted to talk about is the auditory learning style. So basically, you know, with auditory learning style, people learn best through their hearing, which means that they can remember or understand new concepts better when they are explained out loud, even if they're doing the speaking themselves. They have a better time understanding it. Sometimes that's why they talk out through problems. I know my wife sometimes does that. She will talk herself through problems. Because that's how she learns. They can even better retain knowledge when new ideas are paired with nonverbal sounds such as music, drum beats, or clapping. Some ways that we recognize auditory learners is, especially for children who learn this way often love music and can remember the words to songs they hear. They can easily follow spoken directions. And if they don't understand something, will often say, "Tell me again." Auditory learners like to read out loud rather than silently, even when they are alone. They would also rather much have someone read a story to them then read it to themselves. The auditory learners understanding is much stronger when their teacher explains something to the class rather than when they're given a reading assignment. So some of the ways that we could help our auditory learners excel in their learning style is, well, if you do think that you have an auditory learner on your hands, you can encourage your child to say things out loud. For example, depending on how old they are, mini spelling bee can help your child practice spelling words by saying the letters rather than writing them out loud. You can also help your child practice reading by getting some books on tape and encouraging them to read along with the spoken words of the story. If your child has a lesson to learn, try recording them reading the lesson out loud, and you could give them the audio to listen to later. If they are stumped on a new concept, you could start a conversation about it, and then you could let your child work through the logic of the problem by talking to you about it. When they're trying to memorize something, suggest making silly songs about it. Auditory learners are also often intrigued by the word play and language patterns. For early readers, try books by, you could do by Shel Silverstein and Dr. Seuss. I'm starting to encourage my daughter to do that right now. We're reading a lot of early learner Dr. Seuss books. But yeah, that's a little bit about auditory learning. And the next learning style that is pretty common is the visual learning style. So basically, visual learners learn best when their sense of sight is engaged. They quickly show an affinity for books and reading, starting with picture books and quickly moving on to books with text. They are usually pretty engaged by bright colors and clear diagrams and can learn from videos, demonstrations, and usually classroom handouts. Of the three different learning styles, the visual learning most closely conforms to a traditional classroom teaching. Visual learners can glean information from reading assignments, from taking and reviewing handwritten notes, and from flip card diagrams and other visual aids that many teachers do use. So how do we recognize visual learners? Usually pretty easy, but most of the time they can be found at the front of the classroom, soaking up whatever they see their teacher write on the board. They're usually really fascinated by bright colors and motions, and will often use posters or mobiles to brighten up their room. They like to draw and paint usually. Once they've read a story, they can retell it down to the smallest detail. They even often say, "Show me," when they're trying to learn something new and like to see something else perform a task before they try it themselves. So that's usually how you could recognize how they learn, and then how to help visuals excel with learning. So if you think you do have a visual learner, surround him or her with books. You'll notice that even before he or she can read, the child will be interested in the bright pictures and the stories they represent. Usually the visual learner is probably also very artistic. To help them remember information more clearly, stock up art supplies that they can use to create visual representations of what their learning can be. Usually visual learners can create drawings to remember important facts, identify the main elements of a storyline, and solidify the meaning of new words in their heads. So yeah, that is, and then the other thing that's good, which I'm sure a lot of you guys do use, is learning visual aids. Yeah, you could use visual aids. Yeah. You could use a whiteboard. different things like that, flashcards. And then since visual learners can easily become distracted, if too many sights and colors are in front of them, you could create a quiet, non-distracting space for them to work on their environment so they don't become distracted when that happens. And the last thing, kinesthetic learning, that's pretty much how I learn, is the most physical of all the learning styles. Basically, people who learn this way learn through touch, movement, and motion. You know, the word kinesthetic refers to our ability to sense body position and movement. So basically, it means that to really understand something, we need to touch it or feel it or move around with it. A lot of times when I am trying to learn a new system in our program, I can't actually listen to somebody do it or see it. I actually have to be hands-on and actually do it step by step. So that's basically what kinesthetic learning is actually doing it. And just like the other two, we recognize kinesthetic learners. Usually they'll say, let me hold that. Whatever they say, let me see that. They're likely a kinesthetic learner. They're the kids who love building sets, model kits, and interactive displays at the Children's Museum or in your classroom. They often tear things apart just so they can learn about them. Usually if they're offered a choice in art class, they'll choose modeling clay over pencils or paint. Usually from an early age, they'll reach for books that encourage interactions, pop-ups, little doors that open and close, books with textures that can be touched or petted. So how do we help them excel? Whenever possible, we want to make sure that we give them enough things to hold in their hand so they could have discovery. Physical math manipulatives such as blocks and possibly, you know, base 10 blocks can help kinesthetic learners internalize usually new math concepts. Depending on their age, practice spelling by getting them letter-shaped magnets. They can move around on the fridge. You know, more texture paper to write on, and a variety of different size pencils and pens for them to choose. So there's a lot that you could do with kinesthetic learning. And usually kinesthetic learners also are frequently benefit from using rhythmic motions like hand clapping or finger snapping, reading or practicing math facts. So that's a little bit about how individuals, how the different strategies and learning styles that you could use for in your classroom and what they are usually. You know, now having said that, with all that information, is there a specific learning style that you tend towards in your guys' adulthood, and what kind of strategies do you promote for children's learning in your classroom, or if you have a child at home that you take care of, or wherever you may work? I'd like to hear from you guys.
I think I have several of the learning styles, but I think I'm more of a visual learner. And then I have 5 of my own children. I think several of them have different learning styles on their own, but I usually take an approach that incorporates all the learning. So if I explain something or if I put it to a music, and if I give them an activity to go with it, something to work with their hands, say if we're adding elephants or which elephant is smaller or bigger, I give the 2 things in their hands. So I just try, over the years, I've noticed I've had, if I'm working in like 3 kids in a certain age group, I'll at least have 2 of them that have completely different learning styles. So I try to involve it all.
And that's great, Susan, that you do that, because I think as children, sometimes we just don't know exactly what their learning style is at the time, and they might excel in something else, and giving that option and the variety of different learning styles in your classroom does help the child learn and grow a lot better as they get more diverse in each.
Yeah, I find that even through the years, even though if I have some that have similars, being that I've had some that are so diverse from years previous, that you just naturally do it. Because, I mean, I had one year that the girl, if I put something visually, she could learn just about anything. But if I said, okay, I'm going to read you this or do this, she was just, I lost her. And then I have another one now that is still coming back for the summer, and he is, if I put it to music, he's got it.
That's awesome. And that's one of the biggest things, is getting to know your children and know how they learn. Really helps you lesson plan more effectively of and promote their strengths. Awesome.
Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting myself here. I think, at least in my case, I don't know if you can have 2 of the learning styles. I am really hands-on. I have to do and you know, and try to do whatever I'm being taught so I can get it better. But like you were saying, the visual will always sit front row in the classroom. I had to be that, otherwise you lost me. And what I'm trying to do at the preschool is same as what Susan was doing, try to incorporate all of them. I do have quite a few children that are kinesthetic also, but at the same time, I am also explaining and you know, telling them and showing step by step on what needs to be done, how it should be done, and all that. And if I see that at some point I lose one of them, then try to change a little bit the strategy. Or since I'm not there by myself and I'm just learning how to do everything, then I'll just, as a teacher, what should I do next, or what she can help me with, so I can get interaction with the kids again.
And that's awesome. It sounds like that, you know, you're also incorporating the planning cycle too, with adapting your lesson when a strategy doesn't work too. So that's really good to hear, and that's awesome.
So remember,
Do you guys have any more to add on learning styles and teaching strategies?
Nope, I think I'm good.
I'm good too.
All right. So hearing that you guys do not have anything else, we're going to continue for the last thing for tonight. Also, if you are viewing this online, please answer these 2 questions too in paragraph form. Connecting with families and community. I don't know. Did you guys have a chance to read the case study at all? Not a problem if you didn't. I just wanted to know. Just wanted to know if you guys had read it or not.
I did not.
Okay. The case study was about it. Go ahead, Susan.
Oh, go ahead and tell me what it's about. You just have to refresh me. I did most of my reading Monday.
Being a teen mother and single.
I did not read it, but I can tell you all about it.
I think I'm thinking I did read it.
Okay, well, I'll since Anna didn't read it, I'm going to share it just to refresh your guys' memory, and then we can talk about the questions and end that way tonight. So let me read it real quick to you. It's about being a teen mother and single. It goes like this. Excuse me. As I reflect back and move forward, there is no doubt that I was a troubled teen. Upon graduation from high school, I found that I was pregnant. What were my options? What would my life hold for my child and me? As a young indigenous working class woman, would I become another casualty of societal inequities that would position my child to follow a path of poverty and disempowerment? Yes, I had a loving family, and yes, I had a personal drive, but I didn't have wealth, racial, or gender privilege. Because of my perseverance and familial love, I entered an urban community college. There I met a faculty member who helped me empower myself. Without his belief in me, I may not have been able to believe in myself. My daughter was born at the end of my first year. I was worried about how I would continue to go to school and care for my newborn. My mentor encouraged me to bring her to school when my family was unable to help. He would watch her in his office while I attended class. I had an academic home. Not all my experiences were positive. Because I was a teenage mom, I was often talked down to, expected to do poorly academically, and it was assumed that I provided inadequate care for my child. For example, I was strongly encouraged by the college to attend parenting classes. Although I learned valuable information about the importance of play and had wonderful opportunities to learn songs and games with my child, I also was positioned as the teenage mother, the at-risk parent. These educators failed to understand that my lived experiences gave me an incredible life tool. I was raised by a hardworking single mother in a loving family. My parental funds of knowledge came from a loving community that cherished each child as a sacred gift. We might not have always been lavished with extravagant gifts, but we were always immersed in love. In reflecting back, I realized how much I believe in the power of fierce hopefulness through mentorship and love. For me, the stereotypical portrayals of teen moms and societal inequities were what could have been my roadblocks. I urge all teachers and caregivers to examine their biases about teen moms and social issues that impact the lives of young mothers. Every mom, as well as every child, deserves an empowering spaces where they can succeed. So, having said that, what are your thoughts on the case study, and what do you or your program do to connect with families in the community? I know Susan shared a little bit about what she does, and what were your guys' thoughts on this? Anna, you said that you are a single mom. You probably have some pretty good insight on this.
Well, I was for a while. I have two children. My oldest is turning 14 in October, and I was a single mother with her. Even though I was not a teenager anymore, I was 24. But during the pregnancy, I decided, I stayed with my aunt because my parents lived in Colombia. Actually, my mom had passed away a year and so before I got pregnant. Anyway, I decided to study medical assistant while I was pregnant. And I did had a lot of help from my aunt and my cousin. They would take care of my daughter when I had to go back to school. It was not a long program. It was 9 months, but I had to stop a couple months for the delivery and all that, and then I went back and doing my field experience also and all that for my aunt. I had a couple family members that helped me out throughout that time, so I definitely can't relate to this case. And I try to engage with parents at the preschool if anyone wants to share, if I can help in some way regarding this matter, then I'm more than welcome to.
That's awesome. Were you ever looked down to, Anna?
I don't think so. I mean, unfortunately, these situations are getting so common that, at least in my case, I don't think that I was. A lot of my peers were also single mothers. So I really didn't have any problems. I had great support from my family, even though most of them are in Colombia still, but at least the ones that I had here were very, very supportive. So I don't have any memories, any bad memories, other than the father of my child. But that's a different case.
Thanks. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. That's pretty deep.
It's the past. I'm way past that. I have a family now. I'm married. Another child, he's 4. So things are working out good now.
That's awesome to hear. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Oh no.
I did read this case study, and Anna, I loved your story as well. I think that it's wonderful that we support anybody in any situation they are in, and being positive and everything in it. I taught my oldest 2's confirmation class, but I tell them as I'm getting to that unit that every child and everything that happens happens for a reason, and everything that we have happen in life is to make us who we are and to appreciate what we have later in life, or what we, everything just is part of our past. So I like the story. I think when Anna was telling her story, I thought back, and I think it's been about 9 years, but I had a single mom about 9 years ago. And I was just everything, including encouraging and everything to her. She had 2 twin boys, and she was putting herself through nursing school. But those are always inspiration stories to me.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing to raise a child by yourself, or I mean, I can't imagine being a single mom. I can't even imagine being a single dad, let alone a single mom. It's pretty crazy. I know my sister is a single mom, and it's not easy. It's extremely difficult to raise children when you have only one parent. So yeah, it's tough. Thanks for sharing, Susan. So yeah, I said, how does your program connect with families in the communities? A lot of different programs do a lot of different things. But I think the biggest thing is loving on your families and trying to provide them the best resources you can for them, so they can be successful with whatever they're doing. it's just great to have and be loving on them, which is just would be just, you know, it goes a long way in life for sure, especially in the work that we do. So yeah, great. Do you guys have anything else in regards to Chapter 8 case study?
No, I'm good.
I'm good as well.
All right. Well, that pretty much concludes our live session tonight. If you are watching this recording, please make sure to answer the last questions too as well regarding the case study. Thank you, Anna and Susan, for participating. You guys will receive full credit. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me between now and the end of the term.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anna. Have a good night.
Thank you, you too.
Yep, thank you and have a good night as well.
Thank you, Susan. You too.
Mommy.